Today's episode in the story is called Davey Meets the Dragon called Metallurgy. Now, I hope that some young people are watching these, who are people who are thinking about going to college and wondering what it's like, or maybe people who have just begun college and are puzzled by what's going on around them. You see, you can learn from my mistakes, and you can learn from the things I did right and the many things I did wrong. But you have your own story, and it's important for you to see that you have a story too. So I began my college career at the Town School of Engineering, which comprised chemical engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and metallurgical engineering. Now, the metallurgical engineering cadre of students was the smallest of them all. 7 or 8 of us, only 7 or 8 of us. And I think that's what got me into Penn. You see, I had average grades, and okay, there were good grades in high school, but nothing special. And I took the SATs, and in those days, they never told you what you scored. You just took it and hoped for the best. And I think I probably tested pretty well. Now, there's a flip side to this. If I had applied to Penn as an English major or a history major, I wouldn't have been chosen because there were a lot of people in the country who were pretty darn good. Young people were really smart. But I applied for a rather esoteric major, metallurgical engineering, which was the wrong one for me. Metallurgical engineering. So if I hadn't picked metallurgical engineering, I probably would not have been accepted at Penn, the place I always wanted to go to, the place where I felt like it was mine. So here I am, and I remember going into the first metallurgical class, some aspect of metallurgy, and thinking, oh my God, what is the professor talking about? I had no idea. From the very first class, it was above me. I had an English class in College Hall where the liberal arts students went, and I liked that, but the teacher, I remember saying to a friend of mine who was in engineering school, in electrical engineering, and he was from West Philly Catholic High School, and I said, John, I don't think our teacher likes Catholics very much. But I didn't know anything about the Catholic Church at that time, even though I grew up as a Catholic and went to Mass many days. And when I was in grammar school, in a parochial school, went to Mass many days in the morning before class. So I knew nothing. So it was really difficult for me. I like drafting. You can make things neat and orderly. And in those days, everything was done by hand, including inking. And you would get the ink and put it in between a little device, a pen that had 2 pieces to it, and you had to have a little drop of ink there, and then you would make a line, and God forbid it blotted at the end, and you'd have to wait for it to dry, and then sand it off real gently and go over it. But I liked drafting. And I think of all the courses I took in engineering school, the one that helped me most for the rest of my life was drafting, because it gave me a sense of line, perspective, how things line up, just general things. I just felt it hurt me. Anyway, there I was. In chemistry, okay, I had some sort of affinity for chemistry, but I hadn't experienced that first semester. I remember we were in a class of maybe 25 students taking Chemistry 101. And we had a test, a midterm, and when we got the test papers back, I saw that most of the answers I had gotten correctly, but the teacher had given me an E. And I raised my hand. I remember where I was sitting in the front row to his left. And I said, "Sir, you failed me, but I got most of the answers correct. Why did you fail me?" And he said, "Mr. Williams, I think you cheated. You got all the same things wrong that Mr. Smith back there in the far corner got wrong. You two must have cheated." I said, "I never cheated. I never cheated in my life." He was sitting in the far corner and I was sitting up here. How could I have copied off his paper? And the other students in the class said, "Yes, sir, he's telling the truth. He was in the front row to your left, and the other fellow was in the back row to your right." And the teacher apologized and gave me an A. Well, that's the story for today. We'll go forward another day, maybe tomorrow, with the next episode of Davey and the dragon called Metallurgy.